Hey, Stacy. How you doing? I'm a little early, but that's okay. You got the PDF sheet? Hey, Robert. When do you guys get notification uh, from YouTube that I'm online now? Is that how this works? I sent out my last workbook today, so I don't have one. But Stacy, uh, you got the ostinato, right? The pattern. I think it's number 4. I should move this closer. Oh boy. No matter what I do, I can't get comfortable on here with this stream. Hold on. Dennis, hello. We're going to be working at a workbook, Dennis. Stacy, what which one I sent you? Number 4? Is that the one I sent you? Okay. Robert, now you know what fatback is as opposed to a backbeat, right? 1, 2, backbeat, right? 1, 2, little funk, or fatback. I was just playing a whole measure there, and I didn't hit the 2 and 4. I hit the 2 and 4, but it wasn't a heavy backbeat. You understand that, right? Hoist, did you get my email? You go, listen, you go to Hudson Music. You go where it says Rick Lathman's book. You're going to buy it. Put your name and email in it, and you get it. Okay? That's what I was told. If that don't work, I will be on the phone with him tomorrow. Okay. All right. You got it? Good, Robert. That's the difference. I mean, funk, you know, first off, the way I did the workbook, let me explain this. I took from Gary Shafee's book, I took the cymbal pattern, the ostinato, this one we're working with, and placed all the different foot patterns. I wrote them out. And then combination, whatever, 23, 24, 25, and I wrote them out. That's learning them. That's what the book's for. However, I have been in touch with a bass player, and we're going to take this workbook or these patterns to another level as an actual playing with a band level, okay? What we're going to do, the foot patterns that he gives you, we're going to have the bass player play it while I'm playing it. And usually, it's in the combinations, for example. Let me go to a simple combination. Number 23, for example, you have that, right, Stacy? You guys have the workbook. That's number 23. Now, this is simple. It's all mathematics. It doesn't make any sense. It makes sense musically rather, because what you're doing is you're learning to place the foot in different places. And it's all mathematical, the placement of the foot. It's not musical. So we're going to make it musical by me getting a bass player here and playing the line when I'm playing the pattern and improvising off of that and having fun, but always coming back to the pattern. That's going to be up the road a little bit. Rock beat sounds nice. I'm a rock drummer. What's a weird name? Fatback? That's what they call it, man. You know, I was stationed in Savannah, Georgia. Towards the end of my Army career, I was in there for 7 months in Savannah, Georgia. Now, back then, I don't know what the deal is there now, but at midnight on a Saturday, everything was closed until Monday morning. So if you had a gig, there was no Sunday night gigs. All right, and I was working Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at some down under club downtown Savannah. And I was playing with a lot of black musicians. They're not school, but they had all that feel thing going on. So after the gig, we'd all go to some farm or something, man. And that's when the party started. The band played and the people were there. But we played a lot of funk and a lot of fatback. Fatback is not, the fatback is you're hitting the 2 and 4. 1, 2. You always hear that backbeat, and it's pronounced. That's what he calls fatbacks here, and I disagree with that term, because that's not fatback. Okay, that's just ostinato patterns. The cymbal pattern is remaining the same, and the snare drum part is the same. Okay, and if you look at the first one, not the combination, the introduction. That would be, and Stacy, in the workbook, it would be, I don't have the workbook with me. I sent the last one out today. All right? You want me to go over that for you, Stacy? Where it says it's the first 2 pages of this exercise. Would you like me to go over that? Okay, let me do a few. All right? If you notice, the first, there's like, there should be 22 of them. So, I'm going to lay down this pattern. Now, I'm thinking, it sounds like 1 E N, and that's what it is. But I'm thinking 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E N. Now, look at my stick. 1 E and the. I'm back up here to pronounce that 1 and N. 1 E N. So what it comes to is a downstroke, up, free stroke. The sound on that hi-hat is constant. And I'm going to drop the 2 and 4, okay? Okay, now, that's the pattern we're working with. Let's do number 1. Whereas the bass drum is just on 1 and 3. Second one, again, to permutate the bass drum to the E of 1 and the E of 3. Now, a lot of guys, first of all, I got distracted mentally because I was thinking about what to say. When somebody's going 1 E, the bass drum is on the E, they can't separate the hand and the bass drum sound. What you get is some guys get 1 E and That's a no-no. 1 E and. See it? 1 E and 2 E and. Come on, left hand. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Notice I didn't pronounce that E of the bass drum loud. I mean the right hand on the hi-hat loud. The bass drum is the dominant voice. Watch. One E and a 2. All right, the next one, number 3, the bass drum moves over to the end. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and. Here we go. Bass drum now. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. But the sound of that hi-hat was consistent. All right, and we'll do one more, then I'm going to do the warm-up, and then we'll continue on this. So on the fourth one, we again permutate the bass drum over 1. So now it was on the and of 1 and 2. Now it's going to be on the da of 1 and 2. Here we go. There we go. 1 E N. Now, there's only one way to do these at first. You want to get a nice sound. Is concentrate, be consistent with your practice, and the magic word here is slowly. 1 E N 2 E N 3 E N 4 E N. It takes a tremendous amount of focus to do it that slow without making a mistake. And when you practice it that way, that's slow, you're going to become strong, real strong, because you have control over it. And remember my saying, no control, no speed. Got it? Now, when I do practice this, which has been very rarely lately, and I'm really pissed at myself, I've been working on that website and all that shit. I do a warm-up. And the warm-up I like to do because of the fact, and we're going to do these open-handed as well in a little while, but what I like to do is play my bass drum 16ths. 1 E and then play the top. And I'll do that for 3 or 4 minutes. And I feel good about it now. I'm loose. I'm inside the groove. My limbs are loose. My limbs are conditioned now to do what they're supposed to do, and especially that bass drum, it's loose. However, if you're not accustomed to doing that, and your bass drum, your right leg or your right foot gets tight, or you're straining yourself, caution, stop, relax, do it again. You're not trying to, make a record here or whatever, man. You got to relax. How you doing, Ed? How you doing, Paul? We're working on this ostinato tonight. It's in the workbook. And I just did and this is for Stacy because she's new, and it's good to go revisit these things to make sure that we got them going on, and always practice them. And I was telling everybody before, I'm hooking up with a few different bass players. One guy's a jazz guy, one guy's a real rock funk guy. And we're going to take these patterns to a different level in a playing format. I'm going to show you how I relate to a bass player if he's playing the figure with these patterns. How's that sound, guys? Who is Old Dog New Sticks? Ha! Who is that? New guy. Okay. Do you understand what I'm doing, guys? And how about that bass player thing? You like that idea? 2 different bass players. One a jazz guy playing, exchanging 4s and 8s and playing different time signatures. And the same thing with a rock or fusion or funk bass player. How does that sound? Okay. Now, we're going to go to the does that help you out a little bit, Stacy? You want me to do some more? I mean, I stopped at 4. If I go to 5, the bass drum pattern shifts now. He's doing another pattern, 1 E and 3 E. All right, he's doing 1 E and 3 E. So we have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. Now, again, slow. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and I put an and on that. I'm sorry. What's this? Hold on, Jim. All right, I'll move ahead. All right, I'm on actually number 5. You tell me when you want me to slow down. I want to play them at a moderate tempo. Number 5, 1 E N. Next, 6, 7, 8. I can't count and out loud and play these and think what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Let me just play each one twice. It's better that way, okay? Number 7. All right, nice and easy. Now I'll play that twice and go to 8 until I finish the 13 or 15. Here we go. Number 7. Oh, I lost my place. But you get the idea? Now, let me go back to the beginning, all right? You're on the right side of yourself. We're going to take it like this. Left hand's not too good. Do you understand that, what I'm doing left-handed? I would, see, first of all, I'm not set up that way. Now let me try it left-handed. I want to do the foot exercise, the warm-up this way. Sorry. 1 E and a 2 E and. So on and so forth. All right, but you're doing them left-handed, so you go back to the second one. You got 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4 E and. Third one, 1 E and. You get it? 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4. Oh, boy, I'm having a hard time. Stacy, you understand what I'm doing? What I want to do is I want to jump over to the first combination. So I'm going to go ahead to do that. Oh. We're going to go on to combination number 23 on your PDFs. Okay? We'll do it right-handed. All right, so we got 1 E and 2 E and. I'm repeating. I'm tired. You get the idea? We're going to have a bass player with me. That makes it a lot easier. And I don't have to read it or look at the screen. Huh. You understand it, right, Stacy? I don't want to continue, and, you know, nobody I leave behind. You know, but you learn the patterns. That gives you flexibility. You know, you have all these different cymbal patterns and you can combine them. There's no right, there is no wrong. It depends on what you're playing musically. You'll have the ability to play it because of all these different combinations and all these mathematical divisions. You got it, Jim? Where did, what's his name? Old dog? Old dog, what's your first name? Oh, let me put my glasses back on. Getting some new people in here tonight. That's good. Yorkshire Drum Camp. Okay, you're from the UK. Thank you for joining. This is a temporary site because my site is going through some changes, so I'm keeping it down. But I'm not sure if it's going to be June the 1st or not. But in order to, so I'm doing all these lessons for free to network somewhat and get a nice crowd going on and migrate them to my site. But my site is a paid for site. So, you can make a decision after you see some of the stuff that we learn, okay? No, don't be sorry. You ask old question, all right? What's RC? I don't know what RC is. We're not working out of any particular drum book. I put out together workbooks and stick control book formulas. The one thing that we are, and you can follow it, if you have Gary Chaffee's time functions, his pattern series, if you had that, I could explain to you what I'm doing. Now, Stacy, you know what I mean by mixing it up? What does RC mean? Road what? Rick, old dog. Oh, okay, Rick. Good for you. You're welcome. And so are you, Yorkshire. Thank you, Jim. Live lesson part 1. What is that? Live lesson part 1. Oh, you were answering? No. We're working from the workbook and the Chaffee book. That's what we're working from. Now, do you understand what I just said about mixing it up? You start off nice and relaxed. That's what these patterns give you, the ability to maneuver around. You get that? Absolutely. But you don't want to mix all kinds of crazy. You can. That just gives you the feel, what I was just doing. But you want to take, we'll work out of this one day this week, maybe this Wednesday and Thursday left, from the syncopation book. We'll take a 2 or 3 or 4 measure phrase, and we'll think of it as the bass line, and we'll play that bass line with our bass drum, and then from counting to humming. Boom, ba, boom, boom, and that kind of stuff. So we'll get there. I mean, first you got to get the basics down first. So, you want me to move on to a different combination? Or a different ostinato. Let me do that. Let me move on to another ostinato. All right, I got quite a few of them in the workbook, and they're sort of not universal, but a lot of people know them. We're going to take the paradiddle. Okay? I call it the paradiddle ostinato. All we're doing is taking a paradiddle. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E. See what I just did? That's right, they are. Okay, so now, for example, if I take the paradiddle ostinato, if we go back to 1 through, I think it's 22, and instead of playing 1 E and, we're going to change that pattern to a paradiddle. 1 E and a smack. See it? So if I was playing it on one surface, 1 E and a 2 E and a. All I'm doing now is switching voices. Right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare. And I'm only accenting 2 and 4. And then we'll play the foot patterns now from the beginning. Number 1, the bass drum would be on 1 and 3. Number 2, again, the bass drum shifts over to the E. Now 3 up to the N. So on and so forth. You get that, Stacy? Yorkshire. Rick, you get that? We'll work on some formulas tomorrow night. Okay? Any questions on stuff like this? Like I said, I want to get a bass player together. It's not easy. Bass players are the worst people in the world because they know they're scarce. So I might have to get a student. Oh yeah, we're going to be working at John Riley's books. Ouch. Mike Clark's book. My books. Steve Forrester's book. Okay. And what's his name? Jeffrey Johnson's book. Okay. And plus, whatever books you want to buy from Hudson Music, I'm going to post on my site. There's some really good books. Anything by David Garibaldi. We'll see. John Riley. We'll get them down, okay? Paul, you have any questions? Anything you guys want to go over in particular? The ostinatos we did this morning, or this afternoon, whatever time it was. The 3/4, the 6/8 ostinato. What would you like to do? You'll get it, Jim. Don't worry about it. Relax. You don't need it right now. You want to work on the ostinatos I was working on this afternoon? Inspired by Max Roach. 1, 2, 3, 1. Or the one by Terry Bozzio. Which one, guys? Have some fun with the 3/4. Take the snares off. What the ostinato is, the bass is in 3/4. The bass drum's on 1, the hi-hat's on 2, and there's nothing on 3 on the bottom. So the bottom is constant. 1, 2, 3, 1. Hold on. Hiya, kadabunga. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to play on top of that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Simple. Eighth notes. Syncopation. 1, 2, 3. Paradiddle diddles. Makes practicing a lot of fun. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Look at the levels. So on and so forth. 6-stroke roll, maybe, no questions. All right. 6-stroke roll, 6 strokes. I got corrected a while ago by some guy who came in third in the rudimentals school on the test, contest. He said, and he's right, he said that this is a 6-stroke roll. And he's right. But it's not this a 6-stroke roll. It's an inversion. I'm sure he never heard that. He was doing drum corps stuff. 6-stroke roll. All right, let's go do the 6-stroke roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it in 7. No, we could do it in 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. That's it. 1, 2, and. All right, so you're going to go 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. That's a 6-stroke roll. Now, I have had a conversation with the person, I forgot his name. He lives in Florida now. He bought the rights to the Buddy Rich book from Henry Adler, and he revised the edition. He brought it more into a modern text, the first one, as the original one was written. Then he added to that, and he did another book, the Buddy Rich Technique Drum Set Application. And he does all kinds of things with these rudiments on the drum set, which is fine. And you're doing it too, but he's labeling it, you're not. That's the only thing. Now, what do you want to know about a 6-stroke roll, Robert? What do you want to know about a 6-stroke roll? I'm going to work with that with you. If you start here, 1, you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to do an inversion. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So there'd be an accent. 1. You want me to shoot you out a sheet on that one, Robert? You seem to be infatuated by a 6-stroke roll. Why is that? Let's have a little conversation here. You put this, all right, that's a good question. Listen to it now. You tell me where the accents are. There's 6 strokes, 2 singles and 4 doubles. So I'm hitting the first stroke as an accent. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So it's on the first and last stroke of the 6. But you got to watch the levels in here. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. See that? Absolutely. See, that's, I often share my experiences when I was a kid and I was first learning. I'm still learning. Well, I'm actually learning more now than when I was a kid because I know more. And I see, oh my God, all the shit I got to learn. But when I was a kid, the first book I went through, they had two books I was going through. Haskell Hard Drum Method, Book 1, and the Buddy Rich book. Okay, so I went through the Haskell Hard and the Buddy Rich book from beginning to end. When I got to the end, closed the book to the next book. That's pretty shallow. That's like saying, well, I start on page 5 on stick control, and I go all the way to the end to finish it. Now what? That's even more shallower. Do you agree with that? You can, see, you're going to find this out, Robert. When it comes to music and execution, let's talk those two terms. The tune is the tune. You're playing the tune. You could play the tune 7 million notes, but inside of the 7 million notes, the tune's in place. Or just play the tune. So there is no really right or wrong. You might get fired if you play 7 million notes plus the tune. You're trying to do the ed. Now, execution, I'm trying to show, and people do get confused with this, there is a natural movement when you're playing a drum set. And there's so many drummers that prevent that from occurring. So what I do is I explain what occurs with the drumstick when you're playing certain things. There's a distance. That's the level system. You do that all the time. You practice the levels when you're playing any rudiment or any stick control book or whatever you're playing with the accents. You maintain the levels, and you're going to become a very clean musician, or clean. When I say clean, on the drum set, your technique or your execution is going to be clean. Now, I'm showing you the way I do this, the way I was taught by Joe Morello. And Joe Morello was taught by George Lawrence Stone. And it don't get better than that. Now, I'm not saying, this is the technique I was taught, this is the technique I used, and I find that this technique is the most efficient technique you could possibly use. When you prevent something from occurring that's natural, you got a fight on your hands. Your body has a fight. So you got to relax that. Let it flow naturally. I mean, I have guys, I think I said this a couple days ago, they were making videos for me. Oh yeah, I practiced the paradiddle 5 hours today. You maintain the levels. Oh yeah. I said, all right, send me a video. Here's what I get. Here's the starting position, single paradiddle. Now, he's not wrong when he played the paradiddle, but there was extra movement in there. If you have extra movement, how are you going to fly with them? You have to maintain the levels. That's what occurs. If I had a camera that could bring down to slow motion, and I was saying a moderate, I'm going to take the snares off. If I say I'm going to play a paradiddle here, that's not very fast. If I play like here, if I play that, you take a camera, and your video camera, you're videotaping that, and you play it back, but on the camera you have slow motion. This is what you would see. It's natural. That's what's occurring. That's what I teach. A 6-stroke roll, there's what's the word I want to use? There's variables, or there's another word that'll come out in a minute. The actual rudiment itself is presented as 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now that's perfect, okay? But there's inversions of that. That's not the only way you play a 6-stroke roll. That's the way you execute it, correct? Absolutely. And there is a right way and a wrong way. When I say right way, that's the minimal amount of energy, or you're not going to create any tension. I mean, if I'm going to play a 6-stroke roll like this, that's retarded. Well, I don't mean to use that word, but you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these things get me pissed off, like riddles and what riddles, man? You know, everybody's trying to make $1, which is good. That's a good thing. That's capitalism. But music is music. It's not capitalism. You got to maintain the truth. And if people want to buy the truth, they buy it. If they don't want to buy it, well, that's their problem. They want to go to somebody who can play 9,000 miles an hour, don't know what the hell he's doing. What's the sense? Or saying something like, 5 beats every drummer should know. What the hell is a beat? That's number one. And why should I know 5 beats? I want to learn 5 tunes. All 5 tunes are different. That's what pisses me off. Let me see what this is. All right, Safek, I think that's how you pronounce his name. That's who it is, Jim. You have to understand, I forgot the town that in Boston, I mean, maybe it was Boston, in Massachusetts where he was brought up. Now you have to remember, man, here's a kid, he was playing violin lessons, taking violin lessons, and it wasn't for him. So he started to take drum lessons. So we went to the music store, the local music store, and coincidentally, he ran into this guy who was a really good teacher. But this teacher only took him so far. So from this teacher, he went to George. Okay? And then he went to another teacher after George to learn finger control. I forgot the guy's name. Oh my God. But that's where he comes in. It's like, Jim, you went to take drum lessons, or whoever here went to take drum lessons at their local music store. We have a teacher, he's a carpenter during the day, but he teaches here 3 days a week. Or, yeah, he's a painter and he comes in here and he teaches 2 days a week. That's not a drummer to me. That's a person who has a steady job trying to make a living, extra money, you know, to feed his family, which is nothing wrong with that. But man, he's not a drummer. Normally. I mean, he might have the heart of a drummer. He might want to be a drummer full time, but he can't. But to me, that's a part-time musician. You don't want to study with a part-time musician. And you're going to run through teachers that only can take you so far. Okay? The teachers that take you so far, then you got a time to move on. No hard feelings. The teacher should know. If the teacher's a good teacher and he's inspiring you and opening up your passion and your creativity, that's the most important thing. One of the most important things. That creativity factor is going to establish your voice. Does everybody know what I mean by a voice? Let me give you an example. Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, John Bottom, Neil Peart, playing with the big band. You have a tape, you're listening to a CD. You're not watching a DVD, you're listening. And you're listening to all of them play. You can definitely tell who's playing who. Which one was Buddy Rich, which one was Joe Morello, which one was Max Roach, which one was, what did I say, John Bottom, and the other one was Neil Peart. You could definitely tell. They've established their own voice. Nobody's belittling them. Nobody is saying one is better than the other. That's how they play. They have something to say musically, and they're saying it. You know, you ask a person a question, he's going to answer you. You ask another person the same question, he's going to answer you a little different. That's what happens with music. Now, he has a feel different than, say, John Bottom has a feel different than Buddy Rich or Max Roach or Joe Morello or whoever. And you could tell. They're interpreting the music. They're having a conversation with the music, with the tune. However, you look at all of them play. You watch them. And you'll see their technique is all natural. Now, some people don't know that. what they're playing is natural. But if you broke it down for them, you say, yeah, geez, that's what I'm playing. It's simple. Does that make any sense? To break down what you play, take it to ground zero and develop your strength slowly. Give me your opinion on that. Do we all agree? I got to put my glasses on, man. Stacy, do you agree? I think people say they fall asleep on my lesson. That's not my problem. I try to make them as interesting as possible. Anybody fall asleep? That's what happens. Robert, Paul, Jim, Old Dog, who else? Ed, Stacy, who else? Yorkshire. Big Buddha, that's Ed. Who else? Where is he? Dennis. I'm missing one guy. Do we understand? Yeah, well, yeah, of course. You could tell the difference between Wes Montgomery, George Benson, and whatever guitar player. There's always a difference. Stevie Vai. I mean, there's all kinds of different guitarists. But the technique that they use is so similar. They don't prevent what's natural. That's the whole movement of the stone. Okay? I got a video today in one of the groups. Molar the molar to the extreme. And I'm saying, what the hell is this? So I watched it. And all it was, there was no molar there at all. So you had to understand the difference between the molar system and the Morello system. It's not Morello's system, it's the natural approach. And George Lawrence Stone and what's the other guy? Adler. You have to know the difference. Do you know the difference? The stone, and I'm going to go through this story again. I have to reiterate it all the time. All right, not the stone, the molar rather, I'm sorry. First off, I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to be the last time I'm going to say it, but if it was not for Jim Chapin, who's a marvelous teacher, he really was, okay? I didn't like what he taught. That's my opinion. He labeled this as the molar system. It is not the molar system. Sanford Moeller was an accomplished symphonic drummer, classically trained. However, his first student was a Civil War drummer. Now envision this. When was the Civil War? 18-something or whatever? I don't know the exact date. But okay, you're still alive. But anyway, the Civil War drummers, the drum itself was not like a marching drum is today. It was a long, big barrel with either a mule skin or a calfskin head on it. With I don't know what they used for snares, and they had tension rods, not tension rods, but they had rope to tune their drums. Now, they're out in a field taking orders from the flagmen. The flagmen are taking orders from the general or whoever's in command of the battle. Now understand this, there they are on a hill. They're relating commands to the guys on the field. Now on the field, you got all the muskets and the cannons going off. You got people screaming, people stabbing each other with their bayonets. And so they're doing the signals as right flank a charge or left flank retreat or whatever it might be. Now how do they get the signals to these guys? With a muleskin or calfskin head on it. Now those heads, I don't know if anybody ever used them, but you tune them one night, you go back tomorrow morning, they're totally different because they have a tendency to retract, be extracted, retract, I guess that's the term. Now you have to understand, these guys are out on the field and they have to beat the shit out of the drums. So they're all the way up here, and I call this an arm stroke. And they hit the drum and it comes back. Hit the drum, it comes back. They have to hit hard. The left hand, the right, or there's certain things they hit hard with. I'll do it on the hi-hat. And I'm not banging as hard as they are. But now, they have to have, that is a signal to whoever it is. And they're hitting hard. So that's who Jim Chapin studied with. Sanford Moeller studied with, a Civil War drummer. And he sort of documented this in more modern as this is a full stroke, this is a downstroke, and so on and so forth. So the similarity of the Stone and Moeller are sort of the same. So like I said, I got a video this morning, something like, I forgot what I just said, the Moeller in use or extreme use or whatever. The guy was doing triplets with his left. I don't know if I could do it with my left hand. Now, when you do triplets with an accent, there's a motion in there. It goes down, tap, up, down. Now, I don't know if you can see this. You see my elbow? My elbow comes out. All right? And they refer to this as a whip, but it's not a whip. It's a pump. That's what that is. My left hand is really down, guys. And you shift the hand over like this. So on and so forth. You get it down. But that's not Moeller. That's Stone. Look at the right. Can you see the right elbow? I'm taking it from the wrist. All my arm is very relaxed. I'm taking it from the wrist. I want a faster triplet with a harder accent. I pump. Notice the wrist action. The wrist action remains the same. What changed was the pump. Do we see that, guys? That's what gets so confusing, and that confuses a lot of guys. And that creates a lot of enemies for me because I stand up for myself and I stand up for what I believe. What is this? Who was Adam? Oh, okay. I like them all. I love all drummers. Trust me. I love all drummers. I don't care who they are, with the exception of bullshitters. I can't stand that. Or when somebody's giving out wrong information, I'm going to say something. Now, who am I to say that's bad information? Well, if it's going to physically hurt you, don't you think it's bad? A few years back, I went to the Connecticut Drum Show. I met some really nice people. In the Connecticut Drum Show, there was all these tables and booths, and everybody was buying equipment or whatever. And there was a booth with metal sticks. And I told the guy, I said, what are you selling these for? They're going to hurt somebody. He looked at me real mean, like he wanted to take my head off. I was going to blow his sails or whatever. But I was telling him the truth. Metal sticks will hurt you. There's a different shock that goes up your arm when you hit a drumstick. When you hit, it should go out, not in. In is going to give you carpal tunnel or tendonitis. Period. Ask any doctor. Okay, guys, I think I should lock it up. I hope I didn't bullshit too much or put anybody to sleep. Anyway, did we learn anything tonight, guys? Any questions? Going once, twice, 3 times a lady. I don't sing, by the way, as you can tell. We happy with tonight's lesson or what? Hello? What's 1864? I'm glad. I'm very glad that I'm helpful. Old dog, keep coming back, man. It's 1 o'clock and 7 p.m. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 7 o'clock at night, and that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't know what we're going to work on tomorrow. Maybe some jazz patterns. Okay. No, I'm not going to send them to you, Dennis. Don't you have the workbook? It's in the workbook. You have the ostinatos. You didn't want to buy the workbook. All right, let me see what I can do, Dennis. All right, let me sign off. Oh, this is a nice guy too much.